A young college grad gunned down walking his dog. A young mom, Michelle Parker, vanishes after dropping off her little twins at the babysitter. Nancy Grace here. Every day on Crime Stories, we break down the biggest breaking crime news and study the clues left behind so we can help crime victims and their families. Every day, a mission. Every day, another chance to stop crime and keep one more person safe. Join us. Listen to Crime Stories with Nancy Grace on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Have you ever wondered what the media and big tech is hiding from you? Like massive stories that actually affect you in your life that they don't want you to see because they make the left and the Biden administration look bad. Well, now there's a podcast dedicated to exposing all of that each and every day. So download the fastest growing podcast in the conservative movement, the Ben Ferguson Show podcast right now. That's right. You can listen to Ben Ferguson Show podcast on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Download it right now.
We are on the hunt for justice after beautiful van life girl Gabby Petito vanishes on a cross-country trip with boyfriend Brian Laundrie. But in the thick of the search for Gabby, Laundrie disappears. A body believed to be Gabby's has been found. The FBI searching for evidence and any sign of Brian Laundrie. What happened to Gabby? We investigate all week on Crime Stories. Join us. Listen to Crime Stories with Nancy Grace on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
America trapped behind enemy lines. Day number 34.
Day 34, Americans abandoned by Joe Biden behind enemy lines, and still trapped today. We're going to tell you about 4 people that got out to safety thanks to the help of Congressman Ronnie Jackson, and others. We'll get to that in a little bit on the program today. The RNC came out with a new ad. 13 times on the record, Fauci spoke out against vaccine mandates. Do you see what they're trying to do now? Limit. We've been talking about monoclonal antibodies on this program for a long time. Been almost a year since Donald Trump got his infusion of Regeneron. And so many others have gotten it as well. And now that you have breakthrough cases, in other words, people fully vaccinated, including one of my best friends, that end up getting COVID, contracting COVID-19. Well, these monoclonal antibodies have been extremely effective, according to every single medical doctor. That is one of the few things that they don't disagree on. Again, I would tell you to ask your doctor. I'm not a doctor. We know that Ron DeSantis, he's now was routinely castigated for promoting monoclonal antibodies, which is a therapeutic. Now let's just stick with the vaccinated people that get breakthrough cases. He set up centers all over Florida. So Floridians at this point, they did everything that the liberals and the media and Biden and everybody told them to do. They got vaccinated, fully vaccinated. And then they end up with a breakthrough case. I have 2 friends in Florida, fully vaccinated, that had a breakthrough case. They got Regeneron. In 48 hours, they both felt great. Taken early, talk to your doctor, but taken early, as soon as you get a positive COVID test, whether you have the vaccine or don't have the vaccine, it's shown effective. I have a friend in Georgia, 78 years old. His wife, I think, is 68. And he got unvaccinated, both of them. He got COVID within 24 hours, had the Regeneron infusion. His wife got within 24 hours the Regeneron infusion. They got help by our friend Harvard Medical School trained Dr. Fareed. They got the monoclonal antibodies and they're fine. And their kids got it, but they didn't need that, according to the doctor. I'm not a doctor. I just listen to doctors, those I agree with and disagree with, and I let you make your own decisions in consultation with your own research and your doctor and your unique medical history. Anyway, so now despite, desperate to find something sinister, now that DeSantis has said, okay, this is working. Okay, we should be happy. Breakthrough cases, we have a therapeutic that is showing great success. You'd think that'd be great. Well, now DeSantis critics, threw out every charge that they could dream of when he first started it. And the first line was, well, Regeneron's treatment didn't work. Okay, that didn't work out well. That narrative is false. Then it was that Regeneron's treatment worked fine, but represented a dangerous distraction from the vaccine. Now it's that Regeneron's treatment is part of a corrupt plot to enrich DeSantis donors. Now today we learned from the Washington Post none of that was the problem. Instead, the big sin of Governor DeSantis is that he's been relying upon monoclonal antibody treatments too much, and that he's being unfair to other states that now need it. Oh, as if the other states couldn't adopt the same policies. By the way, many of them are. You know who else had a breakthrough case? Governor Abbott of Texas. You know what? When I first heard about it, I texted him. I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm wishing you well. Have you talked to I wrote him. Have you talked to your doctor about monoclonal antibodies like Regeneron?" I wrote him that. And he said, "Yeah, I'm about to get infused in about 10 minutes. So he was, and he said it all publicly. I'm not disclosing private, confidential medical information. Some people choose to share their private medical information. I choose not to. That's my choice. I believe in medical privacy. I believe in patient-doctor confidentiality. Apparently, I'm one of the few in the country left that does. Anyway, now the Biden administration has been so impressed by the impact of Regeneron's treatment and how effective it's been, according to the Washington Post, they're now seeking to stave off shortages of the drug, purchasing 1.4 million additional doses, and they're asking the Department of Health and Human Services to set up rules for distribution. Are you kidding me? Now, let me tell you one thing I know for sure. There's no shortage of Regeneron. We've called and we've asked and we've talked to the governor of Florida's people, and they have assured us that they've spoken with the company Regeneron. They've spoken, and Eli Lilly has their own version of it, and there's not a shortage of it. And they've been assured that. So now we're going to play politics with the therapeutic that shows to work the most. Well, we should all be happy that there's a therapeutic for breakthrough cases and even the unvaccinated. You know, all these people going on radio and television telling us, yeah, if you didn't get the vaccine, you shouldn't get treatment. All right, we're going to apply that same standard. Well, you're overweight. We're not going to treat you. Oh, you're a junkie. We're not going to treat you. We're just going to make decisions based on choices that people make in their life and say, we'll treat you. No room for you. Sorry. Nope. You use drugs. Get out of here. That's not who we are. Maybe when they're getting treatment, you offer them help. And by the way, the RNC came out with an ad. This is devastating. We'll show it tonight on TV of flip-flop Fauci. 13 times that he spoke against vaccine mandates. You just can't make this up. I mean, it's just sad. How about the fact that, you know, when I said with all these Americans that Joe abandoned behind enemy lines in Afghanistan, what did I say? I said, I don't care about their politics. They're our fellow Americans. And if every of the hundreds of Americans, thousands of green card holders that have the right to be here, the Afghan allies that we said and promised we get out, that we didn't get out, if they're all going to come back home and fight to get this show canceled, which people do, I want them home. I want them fighting to get me canceled. Bring our Americans home. There are certain things that are not political for me. Americans trapped behind enemy lines held hostage is not political, except that the idiocy and the decision making, it's unforgivable to me. Because we watched it all unfold and it was so easily, simply prevented. So sad and so preventable. They still don't know how many are stuck behind enemy lines. It's the same thing with, I don't really care what your medical condition or your vaccine decision was. If you test positive and we have something that shows promise and your doctor recommends it, because I'm not going to play your doctor, something like monoclonal antibodies like Regeneron, it should be made available to you. This isn't Republican and Democrat. Look, some people got mad when I said, I really don't mind the mask. If it's going to get us back into stadiums and restaurants and ballparks faster, I don't care. It just never bothered me. Gave me some anonymity. Made me look better. I look better with a mask on. Don't you think, Linda? I definitely look better with a mask on.
Sure.
Mask, hat, and dark glasses, and I still get recognized. I don't know how the heck that happens, but it does.
Well, it's your ninja walk.
Is that what it is? The ninja walk?
Absolutely. It's a ninja
the
walk.
ninja
And probably
walk
all the
right now is
broken hands.
Not particularly swift, as you know. We're not exactly skipping along like we once did. Anyway, so last night, Ted Cruz was on Hannity, and he shared video with us of 10,000 people under a bridge. Now, we had 200,000 illegal immigrants. Here's the COVID outrage there, too. All these hundreds of thousands, we're now headed towards 2 million illegal immigrants already this year. Over 1.5. 200,000 on average now a month. Illegal immigrants, and those are the ones we count, processed into the country. High rate of COVID positivity, stuffed into Biden's cages and that are overcrowded. Nobody's getting COVID tested. There's no COVID mandate because Democrats voted against a mandate for vaccines for themselves and for illegal immigrants. The rest of us, the hell with you. You got to take the jab. I mean, wow. You can't even make this stuff up about how hypocritical it is. Anyway, then they tried, because the images are so bad coming from the border, the FAA stepped in, now politicized just like Biden's Justice Department, and they banned Fox News Channel's drone cam flights showing the 10,000 people under a bridge. Can you believe that? Now, to the credit of the Texas Department of Public Safety, and I'm sure that Governor Abbott had a role in this, they're defying the Biden FAA ban on Fox News, and we now have our helicopter in the air taking pictures and images of it, considering they banned drone flights. What are they going to ban next? They're going to ban our helicopters and ground our helicopters because they don't want the American people to see the truth? It's unbelievable. So then we have people that they're not included in the vaccine mandate. They're not included in even coronavirus testing, a high rate of COVID positivity. Then you're kept in cages that are overcrowded. And then you get dispersed all over the country with no vaccine, but Americans have to get the vaccine. And the same is happening with a lot of apparently these people coming from Afghanistan. I didn't know that there was a high rate of measles in Afghanistan. Linda, did you know there's a high rate of measles? Guess what? Now it's showed up in the U.S.
Exactly right.
I haven't even heard of measles most of our lives.
Right, but now it's a threat to our children.
Right. Now, I know that the very professional and business-like Taliban, as, stated by Joe and Jen Psaki and company, we have more details on the execution of the pregnant female police officer and more on the details on the killings of the 9 and 10-year-olds and more about the Taliban, as I predicted. They now have ordered boys only to return to school. Who told you first that was all coming? We have cyber experts warning that military equipment Biden left to the Taliban could actually neutralize some of our own weapon systems. We got a lot of news out of now day 34, Americans abandoned by Joe Biden. We'll get to that. We'll get to the issue. We're going to bring up the issue. I interviewed Gabby Petito's mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad last night. My heart's broken. What in God's name is going on with this kid, his boyfriend? Why won't he? Why won't? When did you see her last? Where is she? He won't talk to anybody. So sad. I find those interviews the hardest to do. I really do. As a parent, I can interview anybody. I've been doing this a long time. I hate interviewing people that I know are in utter pain. It's because but they're doing it because they love their daughter and they want information. And I don't blame them. 800-941-SEAN is our number. We got a lot to get to today.
I want to get back to being in my community group.
I want to continue having a soccer season.
So I can throw parties again.
So I can go to her parties.
It'd really be nice to dine in instead of getting delivery for a change.
So I can feel safe and protected for myself and my students.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be?
Visit getvaccineanswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Nancy Grace here from Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. All this week on Crime Stories, we are on the hunt for justice after the beautiful so-called van life girl Gabby Petito vanishes on a cross-country trip with boyfriend Brian Laundrie. In the thick of the search for Gabby, Laundrie disappears after he went on a walkabout in a densely wooded, swampy wilderness. Or did he? In the rugged terrain of the Grand Tetons, a body found, believed to be Gabby. We wait on autopsy results. Every day this week, an all-star panel breaks it down. What do we know, and what can we prove? What happened to Gabby? Join us. Listen to Crime Stories with Nancy Grace on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
We roll along. Sean Hannity Show, 800-941-SEAN. This is very sad. Imagine this is Donald Trump. Remember the strike that we were told, the drone strike, took out a leader of ISIS-K. And we all tried to get to, well, which leader did it take out? Who did it take out? We never got an answer. And the report started to come in that, it might have been an aid worker. General Milley, the great General Milley that said he'd tip off China, according to Washington Post reporters, Bob Woodward and Costa. He described it as a righteous strike. Well, we now know that righteous strike, we can confirm, and they're admitting, killed an aid worker with 9 members of his family, plus 7 children. Wow. How sad is that? Now, mistakes can happen in war, but I will tell you, if Donald Trump messed that up and they claimed that they were successful, impeach him now. You know what would happen. So remember the female police officer, 15 years experience, determined not to flee, knowing the Taliban's taken over her home province. Yeah, on September 4th, gunmen called themselves Taliban Mujahideen, stormed her home, took her husband and 4 of her sons into another room, tied them up. Then they beat this woman with their guns and shot her dead, according to a family member who described what happened. 8 months pregnant, did not believe she would be killed because of her job. She didn't listen to our warnings. Today we buried her bruised and torn body, said the relative. I thought that this is the professional and business-like Taliban. The same Taliban, Reuters reporting, Afghan schools were open for boys from Saturday. New Taliban Ministry of Education said in a statement, and apparently it's boys only that will be returning to school. No indication when girls might. I would probably argue the answer, sadly, is never. Just unbelievable. And we got the whole General Milley mess and fiasco. He's not answering the real questions, and nobody's pressing him on it, because we need to know. Did you offer aid, comfort, and did you promise to tip off China if we were going to attack and try and undermine the president's constitutional authority?
We are on the hunt for justice after beautiful van life girl Gabby Petito vanishes on a cross-country trip with boyfriend Brian Laundrie. But in the thick of the search for Gabby, Laundrie disappears. A body believed to be Gabby's has been found. The FBI searching for evidence and any sign of Brian Laundrie. What happened to Gabby? We investigate all week on Crime Stories. Join us. Listen to Crime Stories with Nancy Grace on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.